It's about time to get some seed in the ground, so before we can do that, we need to address the second half of the problem we uncovered a little while back. These giant rocks that we couldn't get moved. Now, if you've been in this industry for more than about 10 minutes, there's no doubt that you've heard people talk about how it used to not get this cold and we used to get more rain, and they're right. So, for those of you who might be new here and don't remember 60 million years ago, this place used to be a lot more of a subtropical jungle than a rolling prairie. A few years earlier, about 100 million years ago, we were at the bottom of a big inland sea. So that subtropical jungle was kind of a natural middle point on the timeline between being at the bottom of the sea and where we're at today. So we had a lot of water, and it was pretty warm water, and warm water in abundance is good at one thing in particular, and that's dissolving stuff. One of those things was probably carbonate, and it would dissolve carbonate from someplace else, and it would precipitate out in certain areas. And one of those areas was apparently right here, where it over time formed a sort of natural concrete slab. Now, I've been told there are two guarantees with concrete: it will get hard and it will crack, and I'm happy to report that those two rules apply to natural concrete just as well as they do human-made concrete, because had this not cracked like it did, and this broke up into smaller rocks, we'd have never been able to dig it out. Alright, we'll see if we can not smash the tractor up. At this point, my biggest concern was that the rock would roll back down the side of the rock pile again and end up taking out the grill of the tractor. But it turns out that the quick physics equations I did in my head in the seconds leading up to this were better than I thought they would be, and that wasn't going to be an issue. Well, that was a pretty good balancing job. This one is the second part of 4 parts that we need to get hauled out of there. You'll notice that I'm taking a lot more dirt than I'd like to, and there are a couple of reasons for that. The two things that aren't necessarily obvious from these camera angles is that bucket has pockets across the bottom of the floor for spikes that you put in for making things like picking up round bales easier. Those spikes aren't installed, but the pockets are still there, so I kind of need some of that extra dirt when I'm picking those rocks up to float it over the top of those pockets. The second thing that's not really obvious from this angle is the visibility on these things is not that great. You're not sitting up above it looking down like you are with a payloader, so you're pretty blind from the operator's seat as to what's going on in front of you, and I end up digging bigger holes than I necessarily need to. But it's not really that big of a deal. We'll just bring what we can back to the field and put it back where it came from. This is a pretty good example of digging quite a bit deeper than we need to, but if you don't get it just right, you just push the rock along the top. Okay, here's the big one. I don't know how much bigger it is, but it's big. Most of the trick here is trying to get it pushed deep enough into the bucket so that it doesn't tip forward and fall out the front when we roll the bucket back. That was right on the edge. Had this rock been any wider, I don't think we would have been able to get it. Oh, this is heavy. If you get enough weight in the front of these things, you can really start to feel the sidewall flex in those front tires. It starts scrubbing side to side, and you could definitely feel it there. We managed to get it to its destination, slowly but surely, without breaking anything, breaking any axles, blowing any hoses up. So we're going to very carefully just put this down, not take any chances with it, and call this a win. Okay, the big ones are out of the way. Now we just got to do a little handwork out here to clean up. Okay, that's probably good enough. The last thing we're going to do is just back drag some of that dirt out that we dug up when we were trying to scoop those rocks up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to get it as smooth as reasonably possible. But we'll go over it with the air seeder, and we will let the wind and rain hit it for a little bit, and it'll be as good as new in no time. I think that looks pretty good, or at least good enough, so we're going to call this one a success. Until next time, thanks for watching.